All right, I think we are live. Hello, welcome everybody to the launch of the Designing Schools book. I'm so excited to have you here. We are live, I think, on multiple channels in multiple spaces. So do share your comments, should be live for us to be able to see. And we will give people a couple of minutes. Oh my God, no, never mind. We are already filling the room. Oh my gosh. Okay, wow. It is fantastic to have everybody here. I'm so grateful to everybody for their support of the book. And, the book, I first just want to be able to say, is not something I had ever planned on writing, like never. And I went back to school to do my doctorate. And one of the questions that I was really, really, really interested in was, how do you prepare people for a world with AI? And this was back in like 2017. And we knew AI was coming. I don't think anyone predicted that the first iteration of what we got with ChatGPT was what we were going to get when we used to talk about AI. People used to think it would be like, like more like, cars and like things like truck drivers and like all these different kinds of things. Or it would be really, really, really rote tasks. Nobody expected some like creative little chatbot who could like generate these ideas and, write essays and do all these other types of and things. And so when I was doing that work back in 2017, I had to obviously write the dissertation, but I actually was more interested in putting out a video. The dissertation and the book is really all about educators. And so I had done interviews with lots and lots of educators about, how did you use design thinking? How did it allow you to challenge the status quo? I mean, because, okay, so when I first saw Design 39, which is really sort of the main feature of the book, it's the research around how they came to do what they do. So I was like, this is a public school. I was a high school history teacher working in public education. And I found out about Design 39 and went there because one of my friends worked there. And I was like, what do you mean you get to work together for an hour every single morning with your grade level team? Like, what do you mean you don't have schedules that go in 50-minute blocks the way everybody else does? Like, they were just doing these things that made so much sense. And I was like, why is this the exception and not the norm? And so when I first saw the school, it was probably about 2014, 2013, maybe 2014. And it just never left me. I was like, this is like so unfair. Why do they get to do this, but everybody else doesn't? And so when I went back to school in 2017, I was like, I want to study them. I want to study how they did what they did. What is this design thinking method? How did it allow them to be successful? And not only be successful, but also sustain and grow in that? Because we see that a lot, right? With innovation, it's like pockets. It's like, oh yeah, we started this and only these people do it and then everybody else fizzles out. Anyways, long story short, I interviewed the teachers and we got all this amazing footage. And the documentary, it's free on YouTube. It's about a 50-minute movie about these educators and AI and the future and all this stuff. Anyways, came out in 2021. And I kind of left it there. And it really wasn't until Brad from Teacher Goals approached me and said, you should really write a book. And I was like, I can't write. Like, that's what I said. Even though I'd done this dissertation and I love blogging and I love all these things, I was like, I can't write. And there had been a lot of people who had approached me about writing a book before. And one of the things that was so different about my experience with Teacher Goals in particular was they were the only people, like Brad was the only person who was really patient enough to actually wrestle through the ideas with me. A lot of people wanted me to take the book and dumb it down. It's too much for educators, they said. Like, literally, this is what people would tell me. Like, it's too much for an educator. I was like, you do realize I'm an educator. I was a high school history teacher. I still am an educator. And they were like, no, you need to dumb it down, dumb it down, dumb it down. And I was like, I'm not going to. Like, I have no need to. I don't even want to write a book. So why am I going to sit here and like kind of compromise on this? And Brad was the only one who really wrestled through those ideas with me. And the reason I tell you this story is because I should have said there was a big purpose to the story before I started. So thank you to anyone who stuck with it. But the reason I tell you the story is, at this time, there are so many people who are questioning their value. There are so many people who are asking, will AI replace me? And the reason I tell you that story is because, to me, that experience I had with Brad, and it's an experience that, I think as young people have with great teachers, that doesn't finish when you graduate high school or college. It's really a relationship that you have with your mentor or your coaches, and really it's relationships that we have with people throughout life. And really that was that encouragement, the willingness to wrestle through ideas, the willingness to listen to, okay, what is this person's purpose? What is driving this person? What are their goals? What are their motivations? And how do we support them in their process, but also maybe help them see new ideas? I always say that if it wasn't for that conversation, it was a 3-hour conversation. If it wasn't for that conversation, this book would not be in your hands. And I'm actually really proud of the book and like how it came out, because I never imagined, number one, that that's something I would do. And number two, I really hope this book is an example not only of how many of us believe there are things that we don't think we can do, that we're not capable of doing, that we're not going to be able to do, but like you just have one person who believes in you and one person who kind of like is willing to like get into that like messiness with you a little bit, and you can have such a huge impact. And when I think about what makes a great educator irreplaceable, that to me, that coaching, that mentoring, things that are the reason we join this profession. Like, no one joined this profession to grade 180 essays. No one joined this profession to do bureaucratic work, to be burnt out. And one of the things that, at designing schools, and like I really believe, is an AI education app isn't the solution for that. An app that can just generate a lesson plan for you isn't going to solve the root cause of the problem, because the root cause of the problem is we are so far removed from why we actually join this profession. We are so far removed from why we do this work, that is what I hope this book inspires a return to the irreplaceable nature of what it means to be an educator. And so the book has so many ideas, and more than ideas, because ideas are everywhere. There is no shortage of ideas. There is no shortage of the problem being described. What there is a real shortage of is support for, okay, I know things should be different. I would like to do something different, but that in between is missing for so many people. And so I always love these lives because they're like casual and we get to like just kind of like chat a little behind the scenes. But one of the things I'm going to do is share with you what I think is the most exciting part of the book. And that is what I call the Designing Schools AI team. So I really hope this is showing up for you right now. Yes, it is. Okay, so when you purchase the book, this is the page that the QR code is going to link to. So at the end of chapter 1, for example, I share my own story with change, because what was so interesting about writing this book, first of all, I learned so much about myself. So to all the people who think writing is not a thing, nobody wanted the documentary. I mean, people watched it. Everyone wanted a book. Like everyone wanted a book. So to anyone who thinks writing isn't a thing, let me tell you, writing is probably one of the most valued mediums in our world today. And so, one of the things that happens at the end of chapter 1 is I talk about my own experience with change. I was somebody who is very resistant to change. I'm somebody who's actually way more open to change in my professional life than I am in my personal life. But anyways, you'll get to read all about that. But anyways, as you come down, for example, when you scan the QR code, there are actually these little personalized chat bots that are trained on the exercise. So instead of you having to, because this to me are the friction points. And as you do this, there's a twofold purpose. Number one, of course, that support is there for you. But as you're going through it as an educator, I really hope you're thinking, oh my God, what are those friction points for my learners as they're going through something that I might be able to remove using these tools? So for me, I know a friction point is people love reading, people love the ideas. Not everybody knows how to implement them and go through that work. So these chatbots are designed, you just come in here, you click on this, and basically it's going to walk you through the entire exercise. And there's a couple of other things that we're hoping to model through this as well. Number one, you'll notice this is not me. right? I am not telling you this is my AI digital twin and I'm cloning myself 50 times to be in 50 places. Could we have done that? Yes, but it was a very intentional design choice. And these are the kinds of design choices that I hope other organizations also consider with AI integration. If you followed any of the AI updates of this past week, agents and now between ChatGPT and Gemini, they can see your screen, they can do all kinds of things now. The intentionality behind how we name these tools, how we introduce these tools, and the role that these tools play are all design choices that we as the human get to make. And so, a really big theme of the book is as a human, be the leader of your AI team. Do not let your AIs just kind of like, take control. Anyways, this is Switch. And it's here to help you reflect on meaningful change in your life, focusing on your feelings and the emotions you experienced. So, for example, over here, it says, "Hi, I'm Switch, and I'm here to guide you through exercise number one, your change snapshot. Are you ready to begin?" So we can say yes. So, again, really quick, you can do it on your phone, super easy for you to do. So it's going to ask me now, think of a meaningful change in your life. This could be a move, a new job, a significant personal decision, or any moment that marked a turning point for you. So maybe I'll actually just say, like, okay, I have something exciting. I just wrote my first book. And now it's going to kind of just like, again, guide me through that process. But hopefully you kind of get the idea. It's going to say, oh, what's one word that best describes it? And it's giving me examples, but maybe I'm like, none of these, like maybe I'm just like nervous, right? And again, you can do this for any kind of experience, professional, personal, doesn't matter. And it says over here, okay, change comes with challenges. Can you identify one challenge you faced during this particular change? Oh my gosh, yes. So anyways, the point is it goes on, and there are 10 little chatbots in here, each designed to help you really make the most of the book and the entire experience. And so, how do I stop this now? There we go. Okay, amazing. So, yeah, so it's really just designed to be there as a support for you as you go through the book, really making it an interactive experience. I will tell you the third thing that I really am excited to share. First of all, through writing the book, I realized I'm a gatekeeper. I always felt like I shared so many things like online and my videos. And what I really realized, and this is something we really bring up now when we do our AI workshops, especially with educators, is as much as I love video, there is a depth in the book that you won't find anywhere else for me online in the past 15 years. But even in my blogs, there's just too much segmentation. Like it would have been one blog here, one blog here, a 60-second video here, a 10-minute YouTube video here. But the curation of the journey, the practices, the examples, there's just a depth from writing that I had a newfound appreciation for that I can't really say I realized before. I love books. Like I love, love, love books. So it's a very intimidating process as well, sort of writing one when you're obsessed with like everybody else's book. You're like, okay, how in the world am I going to put that together? Um, and one of the things that was particularly challenging for me, and I think a lot of this goes back to just like our experiences when we're younger around feedback and assessment. Um, I never really enjoyed writing for school. I loved writing personally, like journaling, blogging, scripting. I love writing in so many different places, but I never enjoyed writing for school. In fact, as I often share in my presentations, I was suspended once in high school and failed out of a class in university, both for not complying with, or but basically plagiarism, because I bought papers off the internet and was really irresponsible. And I will say that I did it pretty often, but when I was lazy about it is really when I got caught. So, anyways, another story for another time. But the point being that because I had such a negative experience in school with writing, when I used to get feedback from my editor, I used to like literally take me like 2 weeks to like open the document. And I would open it up and be like, oh my God, you were so silly. You should have done this before. Then my timeline got late and it was like all this other nonsense. But it really goes to show that like the impact we have just through the feelings we provide for people and the way in which we talk to them, which is, right now even I think using AI for grading and for feedback is such a like a popular use case. And one of the things that you'll hopefully see as you read about designing schools, or you read about design thinking, is when we start to create a more project-based environment, we start to have more organic feedback and assessment mechanisms. That's not to say we don't need structured ones. Obviously we do. But I think even for me as an educator, when I made that shift in my classroom, what I started to realize was I had so many conversations and I was following the process of what my students were doing so much that by the time it got to the end, I almost knew what your grade was. I almost knew how you performed because I was watching you the whole time and we were talking about everything the whole time. And so I think that coaching, that mentoring, that is really where the irreplaceable element is going to come in. You don't want to be that educator who's just pushing a few buttons, generating these lesson plans. Like that's not why we do what we do, right? Like for anybody. And so I think just bringing those conversations to the forefront, reading this collectively as a team, and then the final kind of piece that I'll leave you with is I really hope every educator and each person who reads this book realizes that the classroom is not the only space for you. And that's not to say people should leave or like anything like that. But I think more and more people need to know what their options are. I think there are a lot of very interesting challenges that we talk about in education when it comes to learning, when it comes to the ability to help young people graduate without debt, have a sustainable career, lifestyle, buy a home, all these different things that really matter that in education we struggle with, but sort of in the creator industry are booming, right? Like I find it like one of the examples you'll read in the book is of Alex, who runs a business called the Copy Posse. And I remember seeing that a couple months ago when I was writing it and thinking, oh my God, at a time when every English like department in the world is like crying about AI, here's this woman who's like building like a seven-figure business off of teaching people writing. So I just go back to that idea that like writing is really important, but perhaps the way we're doing it in schools is affecting our literacy rates, right? Kids don't enjoy reading and writing. And I think that's what we really need to look at as a root cause. I think a lot of us, I think there's a lot of people we meet that are very afraid of AI and what it can do. And it's because a lot of what we do is robotic. And so when we design experiences that create more joy, that give us more joy, that we enjoy doing, like even I said, right? Like I love writing. I write in so many different places, but I never enjoyed writing for school. And I think if we can help people enjoy that writing for school, if we can integrate more of that in there, I think you will find people to be much, much, much more engaged. And so I really hope these are the types of things that the book is able to support with, that it's able to help with. We'll definitely be doing a lot more lives just like this to be able to connect with you. DMs are always open for your questions, for your thoughts, for your comments, for your feedback. I think always putting out what I love about the book is it's all about AI and like why AI, but the book is so much more than that. The book is about you. I think at a time where the whole world is talking about AI, this book is here to talk about you. This book is here to talk about what you should think about your life, about your career, about your goals, about your vision, about your future, because not everything we do is up to the mercy of these technology companies and all the things they throw our way. And if you are somebody who's been following the crazy number of updates that have dropped, I mean, forget the last week, just within the last day, it's such an overwhelming time where it's very easy, especially if you're on social media, to just get so overwhelmed by a feed where everyone is throwing an update at you. And when I always think about, people always ask me, like, what do you think about 2025? What's your goal for 2025? What did you learn from 2024? The number one thing I hope for in people in 2025 is that you double down on talking about yourself as much as you talk about AI. So for every one time we talk about AI, two times for that person or for the humans in your organization, because that is truly the only way you are going to maintain human agency. This is probably one of the biggest dangers. I know, like, there's ethics, bias, all these other pieces, but one of the things I really worry about is human agency. I think we already see humans struggle with agency. We struggle with control over our spaces, over change, and over all these other pieces. So you add AI into this mix now, and it really, really, really um, is a scenario we should pay much more attention to, is human agency and how you retain human agency. There's also a link to a free webinar inside the book. So we really have tried to provide as many supports as possible. Yes, humans at the center. Oh, all my favorite people. I'm just seeing these comments. Oh, hello, hello, everybody. Oh, yeah, thanks. I know I always love these lives for more authenticity. Like, I just love being able to like come on here and just kind of be able to just like chat with people and just kind of like say hello and all behind the scenes. But anyways, we'll be doing many more of these. One of the other things that I really hope the book does, there's really, we were very intentional with the people that we highlighted. These are people who are very collaborative. These are people who are super active online. These are people who, if you were to reach out to them tomorrow, would message you back. And so a really big part of this is hopefully you're able to connect with them, learn from them, hear their stories, be inspired by them. And we'll be sharing a lot more about all of them on social media as well, highlighting different things. But really, the biggest thing is if there's anything we can support you with, if there's any ideas you have, if there's resources that you think we'll have much more coming next year from like a book study and just like all these other pieces, just let us know. And we are very, very happy to support you. Oh my God, wow. Like that's crazy to me, the numbers on these feeds, like that so many of you would take a couple moments to come in. And so I hope this book is helpful to you. I hope the resources are helpful to you. And I really look forward to seeing the impact that it has and the things that you're able to do with it to bring that human agency back into your life. So thanks so much, everybody, for all of your incredible support. And we will see you soon. We will see you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much.